everyone,
Whoa!
everybody online. It's Siobhan here with one of my wonderful, wonderful Hufflepuff friends, Zach Stolz, who is director of our first headlining show, She Kills Monsters of the 2020-2021. That's a lot of 20s.
A lot of 20.
Season of character, and we're so thankful that he's here to join. We've been waiting to like have this interview for what, like 3 weeks now.
Something like that. Yeah.
I was like, wait, let's do it live
Yeah.
and get live feedback, and then we just had to wait even longer. So we're happy you're here. How are you? You doing okay?
I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing my best to stay sane and safe and healthy and all that, all the stuff you're
Well,
supposed to be doing right now. Yeah.
we love that. So Zach, I know you, and some of the Elm Street fam knows you, but not everybody knows you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your theater life, like what got you into theater, all that jazz.
Yeah. Well, I'm not an Atlanta native. I'm a transplant. I've been here for a year and a half now. I know, shocking. Uh, I'm originally from Arkansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas, and that's where I grew up for a good chunk of my life. And then when I went to college, and then I went and got my master's degree in acting at the University of Alabama. And then I moved here to Atlanta, and I did the apprenticeship, the 2018-2019 Horizon Theater Apprenticeship. Um, and throughout all of that, thank you. Throughout all of that, I've been working off and on professionally, depending on apprenticeship or school or different things, um, at a good variety of regional theaters across the country, and in different roles as an actor, in the development offices in a couple of different capacities, and also as the co-founder of two small uh, but mighty theater companies, the Krug Mechanicals, which was a free Shakespeare company in Northwest Arkansas, and now here in Atlanta of Happy Accident Theater, which
Yeah.
is a nice little, our
Hat.
fun little hat theater, which we're really dedicated to making risky, impossible theater. That's our goal.
Yeah, that's awesome. So those of you that are joining us, again, this is director Zach Stolz of She Kills Monsters. And if you guys have any questions for him as we're going through this interview, I am looking at the live feed here, and you're more than welcome to ask any questions you might have, and we will answer them throughout the thing. But as we continue, let's go ahead and ask. Tell us a little bit about your directorial uh prowess, like uh what do you enjoy about directing, what kind of things have you done? I mean, we know you've done puffs, but
Yeah.
go
Um,
ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
yeah. So I kind of accidentally stumbled into directing. That was never huge on my radar, and then I found it and fell in love with it. But as I mentioned, the Crude Mechanicals, the Shakespeare company, from when I was in undergrad, a bunch of friends and I, we were wanting to do more than just the opportunities that the University of Arkansas was giving us, which were plentiful and like just a whole bunch of great opportunities. But we wanted more. We wanted to try something, and so we were like, "Well, Shakespeare's free. You don't have to pay him the rights. He's dead, and we haven't done much of that. So let's try it." And so we cast ourselves in all the roles that we thought nobody would want to see us in or cast us in, and we just started experimenting with Shakespeare and trying it out. And so as a director, I kind of learned the process through classes that you take, but also through just practical doing it and self-producing theater, and standing back and going, well, what's not working here? How do we as a team um, build this show together, and step out of scenes that you're not in and learn how to help shape it. And from there, it just kind of took off. So I've directed basically only Shakespeare, except for Puffs last year, and now upcoming She Kills Monsters.
Yeah, well, we love what you bring to the stage. Zach has such a great way with ensemble work, and how he creates that picture on the stage and the magic and the fantasy. If you didn't see Puffs, I'm not tooting it because I wasn't in it, but but he has such a way of working with his cast and bringing that to life, and also the intimacy of things too. He does a very good job with that. Um, so tell us a little bit about She Kills Monsters. What we don't, not everybody knows the story, but you can tell us a little bit about the story. But what do you like about it? What do you what is exciting for you to get to direct the show? Like, what's exciting about it?
There's She Kills Monsters works on like 8,000 different levels for me. One being that it's a show set in the 90s full of pop culture and nerdy references, just like Pops was. So thematically, I've got Elm Street covered there. I think I'm the go-to for that.
Yeah, next year we'll call you.
Right? Yeah, for some other obscure nerdy 90s play.
Right.
Uh, I say obscure because I can't think of another one other than those two. Um,
Right.
uh, um, it's the story of Agnes, a young woman who is living kind of just a very simple, straightforward life. Um, and then she loses her family. Her family all die in a car accident. And no spoilers, this happens on like page 2. And then she begins the process of learning about her little sister and kind of communicating and connecting with her little sister through this Dungeons and Dragons module that she wrote, that her sister wrote, that she finds, and through it she kind of opens up this whole new world that she didn't even know was just right there and was so accessible and so inviting and so crazy and so fun. And to me that speaks to like just like the power of theater, because you can walk into a theater and be transported instantly into a whole new place, a whole new time, and completely lose yourself for hours on end. um, exactly what D&D can do for you.
Yes.
And she builds this over time throughout the story. Like this community is built through storytelling, and to me, going through a less than ideal kind of childhood, I storytelling was really welcoming to me, and it really helped me find my sense of place. And theater did that for me as well when I was a kid, because I didn't have anywhere else to go, and I didn't want to be at home, and it was not good to be at home, so I went to the theater, and I never left. 20 years later, and so here we are. And kind of like Puffs, I'm a sucker for a story about a found family. I'm a story about connection through our stories and our ticks and our weirdnesses and the things that unite us. Um, and also stage magic. I love theater that can only be theater. And She Kills is one of those kinds of plays where it's like, here's all this impossible stuff, make it happen. And that's my favorite kind of theater, is to make an audience forget, even though they can see all the strings pulling everything, have them go, how did they do that? Oh, I know how they did that, but how did they do that? That's what I really kind of love. That's the kind of stuff that gets me really excited. And I counted, and there's like 9 different fight sequences in the show. It's going to be so much
Tell
fun.
us about your fight choreography
Oh,
prowess. We love your, yes. Zach
um,
is Zach is great with fight choreography.
thank you. I had some really great teachers that I learned from, and doing a lot of classical theater. There's a lot of fighting in that. Shakespeare loved a war. He loved a silly fight and a big dramatic fight all in one go. Um, and so I've been very lucky to work with a lot of really great fight choreographers and fight directors and storytellers through movement and physicality. And one of my favorite ones that I've worked with, his name's Jeff Kent, and he taught us that the best way to compose a fight is through storytelling. What's the story that we want to tell here? How do we not use this just as a moment for actors to do cool stuff, swish, swish, but how do we also relay character growth or character change, or what their beating heart is saying to them right then and there, through the movement as well. That's
Yeah.
that's so that imprinted on me in how I choreograph and how I've learned to choreograph through a lot of the like makeshift learn as you go, because back in undergrad we didn't know what we were doing, and it was like, well, we know the safety rules, uh, and then we're just gonna make it up and figure it out.
It's the best of both worlds, putting Zach fight choreography and directing all together.
Right?
Um,
it's a dream.
all of it. As far as the show goes, I do have a question from someone. Chuck says, knowing that the show has been designed to be presented using two different ages,
Mm-hmm.
which version are you presenting? And do you have an idea of the age range you will be looking for in the cast?
Hmm. I had somebody ask me about this earlier today. Uh, I
Was it Chuck? No, just
it wasn't. Hi, Chuck. No audition. I have no set thoughts at the moment. I'm really open to seeing who comes out to audition and building from there. That there's some things that are less flexible, and so it may just depend on which age group I have more of that auditions, and so on and so forth. But it's theater. There's orcs and gelatinous cubes, and there might be a dragon. There sure as heck are dungeons. Like, if people can't wrap their head around, well, that guy looks a little bit older than the rest of them, and that really bothers them, then
then something's wrong.
yeah, exactly. Then I haven't done my job.
Then something's
And
wrong.
that's on me. So anybody, please, everybody, come audition. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there will be an age limit because there is a little bit of there's the gore and there's some language. I think we're not looking. It's
Oh, to
teenagers
come
and
to the
up.
show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely, we
Yeah.
can't have your 8-year-old. Sorry, my daughter can't audition as much as she loves Dungeons and Dragons.
That's fair. I didn't think. I thought up. I was like, yeah. So
No, that was me just clarifying to make sure that they
yeah.
know that kids are not involved in this show. So no, not at all.
Language
Um,
violence.
you had mentioned some magical elements and you were talking about just the sword fights and things like that. So if the story itself, it takes place in two different, now he talked about two different ages, but there's two different times. There's like,
Mm-hmm.
there's or worlds.
Mm-hmm.
There's the world of reality and then there's the world of fantasy. How are you going to make a difference between those two?
There is the gift of lighting is kind of like the first thing that's coming to mind when I look at how do I give the audience Athens, Ohio, and then oh no, I can't remember the fantasy land. The name of it. Oh no.
Oh,
Oh, I'm embarrassed. But
don't be
how
embarrassed.
the real world and the fantasy world, how I can give them both of those things. It's in lighting and the tone of the world. It's in what do we reveal and what do we hide. And it helps that the character crossover is very crisp and clean. Agnes, our protagonist, is kind of the only one who wanders directly between the two. And there's not a lot of gray area there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's the one I feel like audiences will relate with the most. So you don't necessarily have to know Dungeons and Dragons to
Not at all.
understand anything that's going on in this story.
No, it's a very welcoming
Yes.
story for people who love D&D from the first and second editions onto the fifth, or for anybody who has no idea what it is outside of having watched Stranger Things or like a vague pop culture knowledge.
Right. So tell me, what character do you most relate to, or yeah, let's go there. What character do you most relate to in the story, or
Um,
do you have a connection with? Ooh, I'm kicking this everywhere.
I feel a really strong connection to Tilly, the sister character. I spent a lot of my childhood coming up with my own secret worlds and trying to find people to invite into them, and sometimes with success and sometimes not. And um, yeah, I remember these epic battles of action figures just strewn out across the floor while I was, kind of just I spent a lot of time as a kid on my own, and so I would go into these secret worlds, and I would get lost in books and fantasy, and I think finding solace in pop culture, in media, in stories. That really like hits very home for me. And if you are afraid that your truth in your life don't quite fit in, you can create stories to help yourself find your way in, which I think she does really well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a sweet moment is getting to see Tilly in the fantasy world. Uh, I just love this story. It's a wonderful wonderful story. Um, so I'm going to kind of switch gears a little bit as an artist. So you were mentioning before you do professional gigs, and you're not just a director, you do many things, you're multifaceted. I would love to know, i- in this unique situation that we're all in,
Mhm.
what kind of things do you feel would help you as an artist, or even artists that you know more of? What can we know, how can we help, other than sharing and supporting the Elm Stream videos, or donating, or things like that? What things would help your situation?
Yeah. A couple of things come to mind with that. Obviously, if you like to support the arts, to support artists, right? If you can, donate to places that matter to you, that have given you the stories that you cherish and the memories in the community, right? The theaters that mean a lot to me, or to artists that mean a lot to me. Finding a way to kind of build a chance to help out where you can. A key component for me, I'm a very like touchy, huggy. I love people. I like, and so I text people all day, every day. I just like, hey, how are you today? Hey, how are you? Like, check in on your people as
Mm.
much as you can. Uh, uh, Brian Gamble, coworker of yours, I've bugged him to death just to check in on him. Um, just to make sure he hasn't locked himself in a cave somewhere. And
And
uh,
grown out his beard.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because we don't need to do that.
No.
I yeah, and I'm an extrovert. Like I took the Myers-Briggs test a long time ago and it clocked me at 100% extroverted. And I took it again not that long ago and I'm still 100% extroverted. And so to have people checking in on me, I've got a really great partner, my girlfriend Molly, she's wonderful, and I've got wonderful friends, a true friend Mallory, who checks in on me a lot, and she's got so much going on in her life. But there's so many wonderful people who constantly are like, check in on your people, take care of your people, ask them what you can do for them, even if you can't be there. Um, we can still be a community.
Yeah, and that's important too. I mean, it's not just art, but just people in general. It's not a bad thing to just get online or get on your phone and just say hi, because
Yeah,
people are kind of going stir crazy sitting at home. So
yeah.
it's not a bad thing at all. I love it. So those of you guys tuning in, if you guys have any questions, I do have a couple more questions for you. But if anybody else has questions in regards to She Kills Monsters, um, please let us know. Oh, swords!
Ah,
I want to say that somebody commented on your backdrop. I commented on it earlier with your your DM guide, and your 20-sided giant dice in the back there.
a,
Um,
a student at Alabama made this for me. Shout out to
oh,
Hannah.
love
She
it.
a great student.
Nice. Uh, but I will say, as a director,
Mhm.
what can you say to some aspiring directors out there? Just if you have any words of wisdom or anything like that that you just want to impart on those that are interested in directing.
Uh, Couple of things. Take classes, right? When you can, where you can. If you're in school, if you're in college as a theater student, take a directing class. If you are involved in a theater in your community, like Elm Street, ask them if they need assistant directors, right? People who can just find a way to get yourself into the room. It's I learned best by doing. Right, I've got a lot of books. This is two of like 14 shelves, but like, you can only learn so much from reading. I think for me, um, I learn by doing, and I think theater especially is a thing you can only learn by doing, right? Theory only gets you so far. And so read the books, get interested, take notes, and then find people you want to work with and ask them if you can, or bug them until they say, okay, yeah, okay, come in, yeah, fine, yeah, sit over here.
Fine, you can direct Puffs.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm just messing with you.
That's a beautiful accent. Um, uh, yeah, just get thee to a theater and get involved. Um,
I
that's
want to put that on a shirt. Get thee to a theater.
theater.
Just not
Um,
now.
right, just not now. Just not now.
Wait till everything is
Wait
good
till it's safe.
to go. Yeah.
Um, and make your own stuff. Like go out and give it a try. Get your friends together when you can in your living room and or over Zoom. And just say like, hey, let me direct y'all in this scene. Like just start doing it and feeling it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I would agree. The best way of learning is by doing. I have a couple of things from the group here. Um, James
Ah,
Kelsey Cogswell the fifth
heard of him.
wanted to ask, what are the chances of a drag interpretation altering "She kills monsters" into "She slays monsters"?
Ooh, ooh. I think that's up to Christopher Brazelton granting me a midnight performance of anything I direct. But if James is involved, I think it's very, very dangerous.
Only if it's James.
Only if
For
it's
those of
James.
you guys that don't know who we're talking about, James was our wonderful Zach Smith, is that his
Zach
name?
Smith,
Zach
Ben
Smith from
Pierpont.
Puffs.
Pierpont.
And also he was the so loved husband of Helvetica. If you haven't seen that yet, that's still streaming. Um, he's not loved. He's like the bad guy.
James
Chuck
is love.
asks again about auditions. I'll go ahead and let you know. Auditions, if everything goes according to plan, should be sometime in mid to late June, I believe, is where that is. That is, again, if things go according to plan, as with everything going on. So if things change, we'll let you know. Things are going to get auditions, and all of these events are going to start getting posted more and more on our website. elmstreetarts.org. I have one more question for you here from Amanda. She wants to know if you have a favorite moment of the show, either sentimental or funny.
Yes.
We can
Um,
go either.
I do. The first one that comes to mind, I don't want to talk about because it's at the very, very end of the play.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Spoilers.
yeah, but it's a very funny show, and it's a very wild and magical and kind of kooky, crazy show. But there's also a very real heart and sincerity underneath it, and talking about grief and loss. And there's a moment where the fantasy and the pain and the escapism and reality all come to a head with each other, and it's just this like one little line just like shatters me. Yeah, I to me
So the
like
end of the show is his favorite part.
yeah, that's the thing that comes to mind right now in this
Right.
moment. It's just like that line to me is like such a brilliant little. You can hang your hat and say this is a great show
Yeah.
because
And
you know that moment exists.
as you can see, the reason why we have Zach directing the show is his connection with that and the belonging he wants to create and the family he wants to create with us. Again, like I talked about, he's very much about ensemble. But something about this show, as we're doing community engagement and outreach, is that we're wanting to bring more people into the theater. And Zach and I have talked a little bit more about that, having workshops with D&D, or maybe you come and dress up in cosplay. I mean,
Like,
who knows if Dragon Con, I know Comic Con got canceled, but Dragon Con, and feel like you belong with a sense, a group of people that make you feel comfortable, because nobody's going to judge you in this world of fantasy, right? Where we are. So yes, sword.
Yes.
So we're grateful to that. Well, do you have any other thoughts you want to let us know about with the show?
Um,
Other than you can't wait to get started,
I,
because you've been
I,
saying that for the past month.
yeah, yeah. I really can't. I don't know. I'm so excited to be getting back to Woodstock and to be getting back to Elm Street and to be creating in a room with some of my favorite people and yeah, to see what kind of magic we can make because
Yeah.
I know we can do something special.
Yes. Somebody wants to call it ElmCon. So we'll leave it at that.
I dig that.
Zach, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy to see your face. And we're happy you guys joined us for this. Hopefully you guys will come audition. If not, come see She Kills Monsters, playing in August of 2020, our first headliner show. And we're excited to have Zach back directing, and we can't wait to get started with you either. So thank you again for joining us, and thank you to everybody joining us online. We love you. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Bye.